Boom, shakalaka boom. If you tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. Got a little drainage in my voice this morning, so I do apologize if I sound weird. I'm not sick. I just can't talk right. So y'all will get over it, as will I. A little whiskey, but it's a little too early.
A bit.
A little Fireball will take care of it later.
Right.
It's never too early for Fireball.
It is Friday.
It is. Hey, by the way, it is a FAFO Friday. All T-shirts on by FAFO.com are marked down to $20. No promo code needed. If it's in stock, it's $20. Swing by, get you the blackout tag edition, get you the G.I. Joe version, whichever. $20 while they last. I may stop the sale at any moment, but at least through today, probably through the weekend. $20. Go support your boy. They're normally $30. That's saving what's that? 33%. So not 33%, saving 33%. Yeah.
I'm not the guy to ask.
Yeah, that's saving a third. It's a third off. So swing by, get you one, $20. Buy FAFO.com. All right, Shaun. Well, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. It's the final countdown. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, let's see here. We got about 9 hours and 51 minutes till Chokwe has to turn in his campaign finance reports and get qualified. 5 p.m. is the deadline today. Downtown in Jackson at City Clerk's office.
I might be sitting across St. Martin's downtown at 5:01, waiting for an update and having a shot or something. That's what I was thinking. 5:01, he doesn't qualify.
Like when we ate lunch at Martin's that day when they were down there getting their federal indictments.
Yes, exactly. Just like that. Just wait right at 5:01. Find out. I mean, because I know somebody we know, I'm sure, will be waiting at the clerk's office, right? Somebody with WLBT or somewhere like that. So we'll get a text quick.
So speaking of the mayor's race, Kim Wade is official, like a whistle. He qualified yesterday. I think we broke that story. Me and Kingfish, some combination of us, broke that story online yesterday. Kingfish on his website, me on Facebook. And much to my surprise, I was listening to the Kim Wade show yesterday, and David L. Archie has also thrown his hat in the ring and has qualified. And he is running as a Democrat, so best of luck getting out of that race. But if you do, you've got a really good chance of winning.
Can they be like co-mayors?
Kim's running as an independent.
Yeah, right. Can they be co-mayors? How much fun that would be, the two of them as co-mayors.
That
would make for great entertainment.
I'm surprised they haven't thrown blows in here.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Kim get David a Kimura clutch.
Yeah, that's just, it would shake things up.
Choke.
The two of them, they were both mayor at the same time. Heck, what could it hurt? Look, we've tried this for so long. 2 mayors, David and Kim together at the same time.
Well, we need a deputy mayor.
Yeah, deputy mayor, right.
Well, they could do it if you go back to the commissioner.
But neither one of them would agree to be the deputy. It'd be a fight, who would be the deputy. If
you went back to the commissioner mayor program, you could do it because they both kind of have equal powers.
Yeah.
And they had those wards, had to get their representation, and we see how that worked out.
Not very good. But yeah, like you said, we've got. There's so many scenarios to this. To Chokwe qualifying 5 o'clock, and Kingfish got an article about it on his website, and we have discussed it on the air a few weeks ago about the legal ramifications that Chokwe has here. And I think though Kingfish kind of put out this theory. I think it's pretty smart about he can dare his municipal court clerk, to not accept his candidacy. And without him filing the campaign finance reports. And I was talking to Anthony Warren yesterday with WLBT, and he's going to put out an article today about this. I think that Chokwe could actually do that and then try to take his luck in the courts. He could file the file the re-election, notice of re-election, and then not file the campaign finance reports, and then try to fight that out in the courts.
The city clerk would then be in violation of the law.
I agree 100%.
So you got to pick. You going to jail for Chokwe, or you going to let Chokwe fire you?
Yeah, I mean, I would think, is it a criminal offense or a civil one? I'm not sure. I
believe it's criminal.
Is it criminal? Okay. Yeah, I think that's like what he would try that though, and let that be disputing the courts. I would think that's something he could possibly do. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I think that's an option for him.
I mean, based on the conversation we had in here the other day, that if he tries that, there's a hero, waiting in the wings,
yes,
to make that unfeasible.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll happen. But that's going to be his most inventive, like, legal strategy that's violating the law, obviously. Or he could. I mean, okay? Let me ask you this, because this I don't know. Does he file the campaign finance reports with the city clerk? That's correct, isn't he? Files those there too, so he's going to file them simultaneously. Yeah,
I'm not sure about I think both have to be done through the city clerk's office.
Okay, it's not. He doesn't file one with the Secretary of States like they do in other statewide campaigns.
That's not how I understood it, but maybe. Don't get me to line.
I think it is. I think he does follow it with the city clerk. I think that is right, but he does do that. So the clerk is going to be on notice whether he files them or not by 5 o'clock, and I don't know. What's your gut on this? What do you think he's going to do? Everybody keeps asking. I keep getting a million texts. I know you do. I keep saying 50-50 on it. I'm leaning towards he doesn't do it, but
I did a video that came out this morning. I recorded it last night, dropped at 5:30 this morning on all my social media platforms. Mm-hmm. The same ones we're streaming on now: Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble, TikTok. Anyway, if I had $100 of Monopoly money to bet, I'm betting that he does not qualify.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it too. I think if he listened to his legal team, he doesn't qualify. If he's going to actually, the only way he qualifies is if through sheer arrogance, which we know he's got a lot of. So that's why we're weighing this. Like,
yeah, 100%. That's why I said monopoly money, not real money.
Yeah,
because I understand the Kingfish factor, and not our Kingfish, the other Kingfish.
Yeah,
the arrogance factor. Yes, he would. But man, this dude has taken so many L's.
Yeah.
That it's time to sit back and just let it go. It really is. It's time to sit back, let it go.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he's got, I don't know how many people it is in the mayor's race now.
Start paying attention on staying out of jail.
Yeah, I think that's what, that's, again, if I was his lawyer, that's what I'd be advising him of. You need to focus on that. And you need to, first thing I would say, look, we need to flip on Jody right now when the public temperature is against him. Go to the feds and make that deal. But also, I would try to point out, it's like you don't have any benefit whatsoever for running for mayor. Like, there's zero benefit to you. First of all, you got to win, and I don't think that's 100% with all the people that are in it.
I got an update here real quick on your question. Both the finance reports and the mayor deal,
the reelection,
and the reelection are both filed with the city clerk, and the clerk files with the Secretary of State.
Gotcha. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Clear that up. Yeah. So I think. He first of all, he's got to win re-election, which is not that easy with all the people that are in this race now. There's a ton of people.
There's some heavy hitters. I'm not a John Horn fan, but you'd be a fool to discount him.
Sure. Even
though he's lost the race several times, he is a sitting senator.
And he's got a bunch of money behind him, I've heard.
And presumably not going up against an incumbent.
Right.
And then you got, I know Kim's got his haters, but Kim's got his fans too. And
he does.
There's a lot of people who are tired of it and want something different. Mm-hmm. And Kim has done something different. You got David Archie. Say what you want about David. He's won a countywide election before.
Yeah.
He's got a big name.
Name ID. He's got all that. Sure.
Name ID. You got.
And he's going to work. He'll put in the work. I mean, he'll get out there and campaign.
Yeah.
So.
You've got this Henderson guy that nobody knows anything about, but he's the name that keeps coming up because of the billboards.
Yeah.
Right. And the military experience, but. I mean, so kudos to him on the marketing side.
Basically, it's not 2021 when he was running against some white people and then some people that nobody had ever heard of.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not.
He's
the
not
same
running against Big Mama Bell Bonds.
Thank you, Big Mama Bell Bonds. Yeah,
and some former Hinds County deputies who I like all those guys. I mean, but at the end of the day, you're white, come across as conservative dude. You're not winning you're not winning in Jackson.
Yeah,
Road to hell is paved with good intentions. You're not. You have to understand that and accept it and find your role somewhere else.
Absolutely. Like, you're just not going to win. So
Like when I was started the whole Save Jackson, people just love to say whoever the popular name is, oh, you ought to run for mayor. You ought to run for mayor. They were never going to elect me to run for mayor, and I understood that.
Yeah.
And I was never going to try it, nor am I qualified to be mayor. Let's just put that out there, too. Just because you're popular does not mean you're qualified to be mayor.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's Chokwe. He's popular, but he ain't qualified to be mayor.
No, he's not. I mean,
Or he wasn't when he did it. He would probably be a pretty decent mayor now if he wasn't a crook.
Exactly.
Allegedly, of course.
Yeah, because he's had all these years. Because he ran the first time after his dad died, and he was really young then.
If he put the effort into doing crap wrong, right, Jackson may be in a fairly decent place right now.
Yeah, because, I mean, all in all, I mean, give him his due. He's a good communicator. He could, if he used it for his powers for good, he might be, all right, but he just doesn't do that.
Man, I heard a story. We'll try to dumb this down enough so don't go back to the person that told me. I heard a story a couple of years ago. Well, I heard it recently, but it was from a couple of years ago, and during the high death 21. It had been during 21, and they wanted to give Chokwe some money down at the Capitol, but what they wanted him to do was a infomercial, a PSA, asking Jacksonians to kind of calm down. Hey, let's have a truce here. Let's bring the temperature in the room down a little bit.
Okay.
He said no. He
Really?
said, my people deserve to express themselves however they want.
Oh, Lord. I mean,
we're talking about killing.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Is killing a First Amendment expression?
I mean, according to he would look like, I don't know the better way of saying this, that the man owned him or something. I guess that's what he was thinking, right? He was thinking something like that.
We are going to.
I mean, he was
we're about to get inmate number.
Inmate number.
We're about to own him.
I think. So I mean, he's got a really difficult reelection, and even let's say he's successful and he wins. Well, what does that help him with his federal court case? It doesn't. And I've explained this to Anthony yesterday. The thing is, I lived through the Robert Smith and the Frank Melton prosecutions very closely with the Robert Smith stuff because I was on the other side. Both of them were locally elected officials. Frank Melton was mayor of Jackson, as you know, and Robert Smith was DA. Tried in Hinds County Circuit Court, but with the Hinds County jury, both acquitted. Okay, Robert first trial was a hung jury, second trial he was acquitted. Frank was acquitted. Chokwe is not going to benefit from that experience. He is going to face a jury comprised of many counties in the Southern District of Mississippi. And I don't know that he fully understands that eventuality. They're not going to care whether he's mayor of Jackson. Now, I'll tell you this. If he was being tried in Hinds County Circuit Court, my advice may be a little different. It might be worth the risk. Because just based on history, what I've seen. So I'd be like, yeah, maybe we need to take it. This is a state court prosecution. Yeah, let's go with it, buddy. Let's try to win this thing. You can we can play the political prosecution stuff and roll with that. But that's not what he's going to experience. So it gives him no benefit whatsoever. He's not going to be able to play the stuff Frank played or Robert played in federal court. It's just not going to work.
We got to take a break. And he's just not that liked either.
No.
I mean, there's a small demographic of dope boys, drug dealers, and black women that like him. And the rest of the folks don't like him.
Frank was loved by a lot of us. I mean, if you remember those
I love
days,
Frank.
Yeah.
And he did me dirty.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, well, we're nightclub owners. We're the easy punching bag. It is we're the easy headline. It is what it is. We took our punches and rolled on. And then he asked us to do an event for the kids.
No, same thing.
It was just part of it. He was bipolar a little bit too, I believe.
No, absolutely. And Robert Smith, I was super close with him for years. His family was so well regarded in the community. They were like, we used to call him the Black Kennedy. Like he had that kind of political clout because his grandfather was involved in the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King. So he was really liked a lot for a long time. Different than Chokwe.
All right, we'll be right back with Shaun YURTKURAN on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming in 4K. Well, as we found out yesterday, the cameras are 4K. We're not actually streaming in 4K. I'm not paying for the 4K service. But do you really want to see us in 4K?
Yeah.
We probably look better in 3K. But we are on the Save JXN, Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble, and TikTok accounts live this morning with Shaun YURTKURAN, my favorite attorney and yours. Shaun, plug the law firm.
Yeah, it's called everybody at this point, I do criminal defense, except for I won't defend Chokwe. I promise you all that. Anyway, I'm located over in Fondren. I've got a new office line. It's 601-862-1320. Give me a call. You mess around this weekend, get a DUI or anything else, I can help you out. So anyway, 601-862-1320.
You got a phone number or something about text law or something?
Yeah, well, my website is onetextlaw.com, and you can spell out the word one or number one. It goes to the same place.
OneTextLaw.com.
Yeah, or hit me up on Facebook or wherever. Man,
what's the number? What's the letter?
It can either be either one. You could put ONE or just put the number one. It'll direct to the same website.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I had it set up like that.
Good thinking.
Yeah. Actually, my dad thought about it. I'm not going to take his credit. He's the one who did that. So, but yeah. So
I keep slowly turning the air conditioner down in here instead of just taking my jacket off. It's like, let's just make it colder.
I know, right? And I was in the Hinds County Courthouse yesterday, and that's the biggest pain because they can't shut the heat off there once it's warmer. They don't have like a way to do that. So you get in there and just start sweating because it's unseasonably warm right now this week, obviously. That somebody please fix the air in the courthouse, please.
I bet that's miserable.
Man, it's so miserable. It is so miserable.
Yeah, but look, let's be honest. When it was cold outside, I bet you that damn heater works down there.
Oh, it does. It works. And then it's fine in there.
One thing I know about black people, their heaters work.
The heater works in that courthouse. It does.
The heaters work. Look, people say whatever. Look, I grew up in South Jackson, in and out of my black friends' houses and stuff. Their heaters work. Yeah. I mean, 70, 80 degrees outside. The heater's on inside.
Yeah, man, that's terrible. It's like that
especially those old gas heaters in the corners.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Those propane heaters or gas heaters or whatever. Mm-hmm. They all smell the same.
That smell always makes me sick, too.
They got that Fabuloso boiling on the stove and got that gas heater going.
Man.
It's just a smell that I will forever remember.
I don't like the heater smell in my own house.
Yeah.
No, I just can't. But that courthouse is not. Now, you go to Rankin County, like the temperature is always perfect. Like in the Rankin County court, I'm like, how is it so nice in here all the time?
They have central air.
It's so nice. It is so nice in there. That is like the most comfortable courthouse ever.
Yeah, central air and heat. Relatively, it was built this century too.
Yeah, it's not that old. It's right, 15 years, 20 years old maybe.
I don't know. In Hinds County's defense, it's an old ass building.
It really is.
But that's what maintenance is for.
Yeah, they need a new courthouse. They've needed one for a long time, and I don't know.
The Board of Supervisors gave JSU $1 million. Some kind of donation or something.
Really?
Yeah, they should have. They should have fixed the.
That's a state facility, though. Right? So.
Yeah. Huh. I know. Crazy,
okay.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big kerfuffle when they did it. Big kerfuffle. Let's see here. This segment brought to you by our friends over at. Who do we want to talk about first this morning? It's Friday, man. We haven't talked about Acme Pizza in a while. Get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris tonight. They open at 4 p.m. And get yourself one of 12 different specialty pizzas or 9 different frozen daiquiris on tap, available for dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. That's Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Fannin Mart on the res. All ingredients made fresh from scratch daily. The dough, the toppings are never frozen. 100% real cheese. Swing by, enjoy it. There's always some live entertainment going on the weekends. If there's any games on, I'm sure they'll have them on. Of course, there's only one football game left other than like the All-Star games, and those suck. So one game left next Sunday, the big one. But yeah, get out to Acme. Pizza and Daiquiris. I tried the pig. It's my personal favorite. Fresh cooked ham, fresh cooked bacon, and fresh smoked pulled pork. Pig. You get it? I thought so. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Owned and proprietarated. Is that a word? Proprietarated? Well, if a proprietor runs it, what would that be?
Don't ask
Proprietored?
me. Yeah, something like
Proprietored by our very own Chip Matthews. So get by there. See him today. All right, Shaun. So we're talking about Jackson here. Let's read some comments, shall we? Let's read some comments. I just got them pulled up on the screen here. They're talking about people that do and don't have websites. Some of them have websites. Some of them don't. That's not really relevant to me. Jonathan says, the Henderson guy is in it to win. He has a lot of support. South Jackson also out all the candidates running he only won with a campaign website, but no, that's not true. There's a bunch more with campaign websites. And also our friend Kara over at WLBT says she'll be interviewing all of them on WLBT Plus one by one starting February 10th. I'll be tuned into those.
Also, another thing to look out for y'all today is I've heard different things about Aaron Banks' plans. Like he probably is not going to qualify. There's a lot of people in that race already.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Aaron has got to qualify too and has not yet. I would be shocked. You know what they're doing? They're playing this hand. They're playing this poker hand. Him and Chokwe.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm gonna run if he runs.
That's what
that's what it is.
That's what it kind of sounds like. I think Aaron's cut a deal with the feds. I think that it's most likely that he's the easiest one to have flipped. His attorney filed that motion for continuance. That motion for continuance was code for we need more time to work out this deal properly with the feds. And I mean, he's the one who got just like the hat that I'm wearing right now.
I'm about to say, tell people about your hat.
Yeah, it says go sit at the kiddie table, Aaron, which is what Jody Owens told Aaron during that.
Hold on.
You know,
we have the technology. I think we can look at the camera, Shaun.
Okay.
We're gonna zoom in just a little bit.
Yeah.
As we zoom in, I gotta reshuffle here.
Yeah.
All right, as y'all see there, it says sit at the kiddie table, Aaron. That is a reference to Jody Owens telling Aaron Banks to go to the Killer Kid. Give him the context.
Yeah, he said, so Jody Owens basically said, Aaron Banks wanted $50,000 in the bribe, and Jody said, you get, they asked for 50, you get 30. So he gave him I think he gave him $15,000 to start off, or $10,000.
They put him on a payment plan.
Yeah, and then he told him to leave the room. And there's this movie I've mentioned many times called Four Brothers, and it's about bribing a city council person. Part of this scene where he tells the city council person to sit at the kiddie table, and it reminds me of Jody talking to Aaron, and that's kind of what happened. Where he's like, "Get out of the room, Aaron. Now we've given you your bribe. You can come back in once the adults talk."
We got a prediction here from Blake on the Guns and Gear text line. Blake says, Betty puts out a statement talking about Chokwe. Betty puts out a statement mid-afternoon saying he's not running and blames it on, what do you think?
Racism.
The racism.
Racism. Yes.
We need to get a Chokwe bingo card for the same things he blames it on.
Like Family Feud.
Yeah.
What are the top answers? Racism. What's number 2? Racism. What was the third answer by people? It was racism.
Well, he thinks he's going to run. In his mind, this campaign finance report's not got him screwed. I'll never forget that press conference where somebody asked him a couple months back. He said, "Well, we've been bad about not getting those turned in."
Yeah,
and then it's like, "Oh crap, that's the key to this whole thing is those finance reports." But it's gonna be fun to watch, man. You
got to think about this, Clay. Okay, so we saw that, and I'm not going to mention too much about obviously Marshawn Chrysler because I'm was kind of involved in some of that, but the Torrance Mayfield. Tanari Moore, we've talked about him on this show, was an informant with a lot of people, apparently. Torrance Mayfield being that JPD officer that got indicted. I can't remember if he pled guilty recently. I think he did, or was changing his plea. Anyway, so and Tanari I'm using as an example for a street guy, owns the upper level in the pass, that's handing out, money to people. So let's say that there's a lot of Tanari Moores on the street. And Chokwe some of them are CIs for the feds, by the way. And Chokwe is taking money from these guys. Of course, the feds know about that because they're a CI. That's what I'm gathering. That there was that there's people that Chokwe is taking money from that he doesn't realize are federal agents. You know what I mean, or informants. I think, and so if he doesn't put that on the report and the feds already know about it, well, that's a problem for him.
I wonder if Aaron may have some of those same problems.
I think Aaron probably does. Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's. Because there's some guy let's use the normal dope dealer name Pookie. Now Pookie's on the street and he's giving Aaron some cash, and he's actually a confidential informant for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and he's done the same to Chokwe. But they're not going to report that, and they don't know that he's a confidential informant. But the feds know that he is. I think there's a lot of instances like that's happened probably with Chokwe that that could be a problem. So that could be a problem and he doesn't know whether to include that on these reports or not.
It's gonna be very interesting, brother. I know I keep saying that because I've run out of words to talk about to talk about Chokwe, but I love the conversation we had yesterday. And we'll say this, take a break.
Yeah.
Kind of end this topic for now, but in those campaign finance reports, well beyond what could be leading them back to the whole boat ride incident,
yeah,
is let's just say that, a lot of these minority set-asides that have been benefiting from these contracts, let's just say that they've been donating money to him.
Right.
But these guys ain't dumb. I don't want to name any names. Some of them ain't dumb.
Sure.
So they'll use what we call in the car business a straw man.
Right.
So they'll get a straw man. They'll get Pookie, or DJs.
Yeah.
to donate the money in their name. It's just a campaign donation.
Right.
Well, you're gonna look at the timeline and say, this $10,000 donation came, or whatever the max. I guess they gave him $50,000 down there on the boat. So I guess you can donate whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Or do they have to do $10,000 from each? That's right. It was 5 different checks for $10,000.
Correct.
So $10,000 is the limit. So let's go look at why John Q. Pookie or DJ J. Taylor, that's the first time I've ever done that, would donate Chokwe $10,000.
Sure.
Or $5,000 or whatever. Because your regular citizen don't just do that. I'm just going to be honest here. Your regular, like JSU folks, they don't give back to the school. Like what are the donations called? The
alumni donations.
Not the alumni. The donations to school. The
endowment.
Yeah, they have a very small endowment.
Okay,
but it's just not big. I guess that's in black culture. Maybe that's just not a thing. I get it. It is what it is. I've never donated.
I've never donated to Ole Miss either, or Millsaps.
But I've heard it was the whole Dion thing that they don't donate to the team.
Yeah, because I feel like you're kind of right, because it's like such a white thing where they're like,
here's free money.
Here's some money from I donated to Ole Miss, and I remember there's a lot of guys that I went to law school with that there's a Lamar order, and they're like, oh, I'm on the Lamar order. I'm like, just annoys me.
And I want black people that are listening right now. This ain't a knock.
No, I'm actually with black folks on this. I'm totally.
This is not a knock. This is what I'm saying here. And I don't donate to. I go to politician fundraisers, and I never leave an envelope. Mm-hmm. I'm just not doing it. I'm not. Because I don't, I'm in media and I think it's a bad look to do it, but that's my excuse because I just really don't want to give people money. I donate to charities, not politicians, not schools. But so they're going to go there and look, and they're going to know that, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to know that, this is a culture that doesn't really do that. So you're not a business owner. Why did you donate that much money to this guy? Well, it's because he's the straw man for the set-aside over here, for this contractor, for whoever. For this law firm,
right?
This paving company. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up here. This business that needed to get rezoned to get here. Mm-hmm. Something. But it ain't him.
It's somebody else.
Well, then you're going to have to track that. Let's look at the timeline. What deals got done at that time? Okay. Yeah. Let's look at this guy here. Let's look at the straw man.
Right.
And it's like, okay, who gave you this money? You know that this is a felony, right? You know if you lie to us right now, you're lying to the feds.
Yeah.
And they can start breaking them.
Oh yeah, easily.
Let's think about that.
We want to We want to finish a little bit of this in the next segment, or do you want to do it now?
Do what?
No, finish the Chokwe subject.
We got to take a break.
Okay, yeah,
we got to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, real quick, I know you heard the commercial there. 042 Wine and Spirits, Highway 80. Brandon, Mississippi, the real Brandon, Crossgates Brandon, downtown Brandon, voted best liquor store in Rankin County for the second year in a row. Swing by, see them today. Man, they got such a huge selection of all your favorite bourbons, whiskeys, vodkas, tequilas, rums. Man, talk about rums. I have grown into being a bit of a rum aficionado. And I'm going to tell you what, they've got it all there, all the different flavors, the clears, the creams. It's so much to choose from. And I'm telling you, I say it all the time, we're living in the golden age of liquor bottle design and craft beer can design and wine bottle design. I just, being a guy that loves marketing and labeling and stuff like that, I could go in there, Shaun, and just look at stuff for hours.
Really?
And not even buy anything. Like I will. I'm not going to not do
like
that.
Like a kid in a candy store.
It's truly it. This truly is so much cool stuff. And swing by, try some of it. They've got all your favorite 19 Crimes wines. 19 Crimes wines.
It's actually good stuff.
They do. And they got your Four Roses. They got your Cabo Wabo vodkas. I mean, tequilas, all your favorites. Swing by 042 Wine and Spirits today.
I've gotten so lazy. What I like to do is go and get the like the vodka or the martini already pre-made, or the old-fashioned pre-made stuff. That
They
stuff's
have all
great.
that. They have, but I'm glad you mentioned that they have all the setups, as we call it. But the pre-made setups, not just the setups. The setup would imply that it had no alcohol in it. Mm-hmm. They got the ones with all the alcohol and everything, and they got the full array of the Tennessee Moonshine, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
the little mason jars of the flavored fake moonshine. Mm-hmm. Really good stuff. Shaun, finish up your point about Chokwe.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
or whatever.
You kind of sparked something I wanted to say. So we're talking about on the yacht, as we all know, he was there. He took 5 checks, $10,000 each, total $50,000. Comes back to Jackson, deposits in his campaign account, then takes out, as far as I know, writes personal checks to himself from that amount the next day, I believe. Well, he's got to, when he does his campaign finance report, he's got to list those as contributions. So you've seen campaign finance reports. I've seen them plenty of times too. And then you have a section that says disbursements, okay? So, and now you don't have to necessarily okay, this contribution went to this, it just has to be, here's how much I took in and here's what I spent money on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to account for where that money went in some regard. And what does he write? What's the disbursement? To Chokwe Lumumba's cocaine fund? You know what I mean? Or stripper, what does he do? He's taken, what did he disperse the money for? Just cause you can't, as far as I know, and I'm not really that well versed in campaign finance laws, but I don't know that he can just deposit in his account and write a check to himself so he can go to Danny's and hang out, that'd be great. It sounds like fun if you wish he'd invite us. But you know what I'm saying? He can't go to the strip club or go to the club and just spend that money, as far as I know. So what did he do with the $50,000? Well, anyway, my point is he's got to report that now and then write that he's dispersed it to himself on the campaign finance report,
and then pay taxes.
Yeah, he's going to have it's an income or something. So he's got to actually document that stuff, and I think that puts him in a bad situation.
Yeah, I think he is. He's effed.
He is.
We're just waiting for the find out part.
Yeah, he's in a. And that's why he's sitting there every night. The legal team and the accountants are all sitting there sweating. Taking Adderall and drinking coffee and just losing their mind. And I know what's going on because I've had, situations with clients in the past, and sometimes you need to use or exert some, authority over his lawyers are sitting there telling him, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. I would quit if I was representing him and he did it. I'd be like, all right, well, I'm out of the case now because you obviously don't want to take my advice. You don't listen. And you want to do something just based on arrogance and pride, and that would be so. Wait to see if he does qualify. If some people in his legal team start dropping out, I'll be interested to see that.
Yeah, Frisco just followed up your point there. He said, "Don't forget on the Guns of Gear text line. Don't forget that it's not just the campaign finance report. That income tax IRS is a really big issue problem too."
Yeah, because he's going to have to declare it as income of some sort. Now, again, I don't know. Somebody might be more well-versed in campaign finance laws, not my area, but I don't know if you can write a check, because I heard it's very liberal in the state. We have very liberal campaign finance laws. If you can write a check from your campaign finance to yourself and just go spend it on whatever you want, maybe you can do that. I don't know the law. Somebody else might know that. But he's going to have to report that. And did he claim, is it on his, I guess he hasn't filed his 2024 taxes. But what he can't do, to me, Clay, seems that he can't deposit that $50,000 and then try to fake that he dispersed it somewhere else. Let's say he said, I spent $10,000 on yard signs. Well, did you buy the yard signs in April of 24, a year before the election? And where's the check to that place? He's going to have to document some places, things where he spent this money.
Yeah.
And we know where he spent it. He spent it on Chokwe Lumumba and whatever else, what he wanted to buy it on.
Well, look, I ain't never trying to count another man's money. I really don't. You got a big house, you got nice cars, good for you, dog. Sure. I ain't a hater. I really ain't. But that costs money.
Yeah.
And you clearly got to pay that. And that's the other thing, too. The city of Jackson right now is illegally paying his salary.
Right.
Factually.
They are.
This ain't up for debate. He has not filed his campaign finance reports in 3 years. I don't know at what point it became illegal, how long into that process. You're supposed to file them yearly. Whatever it is, they've been paying him illegally his salary for however long. But we're definitely, even if it's just been the last 2 months, maybe the first of the year it hit something. I don't know. But going back some amount of time, the city of Jackson, the city council is breaking the law by him getting a paycheck. And if he does not file those campaign finance reports today, He's going to be continuing to break the law, and all hell is going to be coming down.
No, absolutely. I mean, and
it could potentially find city council members in jail if they keep paying him.
Yeah, I mean, we know also you're talking about how does somebody get cars in a big house, and we've seen Chokwe's house in that 4-house gated neighborhood, and this is a story Kingfish reported. Actually, I'll tell you the genesis of it real quick. I'm sure I told you before, but not the folks that are listening. So I was somewhere, and a friend of mine had told me, hey, I was just talking to this guy that's trying to serve Chokwe on a credit card debt of some sort. And I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
And then so I called Kingfish and said, do you want to go look at this? And so he pulled it, and it was that, $6,000 or $7,000 debt he owed on a small credit card or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and this guy was actually serving him with process to sue him. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're sweating a $6,000 or $7,000 credit card debt, I mean, you got some serious financial problems. That's your ticket there that you have not even made your minimum payment or whatever. You got some problems there, and so his financial position obviously was not very great, and therefore, if anybody's getting sued over $6,000 on a credit card is not a baller. You're just not.
Just make the minimum payments.
Yeah, you can just make the minimum payments, right? And he didn't do that, so he's obviously.
And now, in defense, just so we're clear, it could have been a line of credit.
I can't remember what it was.
That it may not have a minimum. I'm just saying, just so we're not. So just in case we're slightly inaccurate here, It could have been a line of credit that there's a discrepancy on, but you can't make a minimum payment on a line of credit. You default, it's default.
But you can make the interest payment on it. I know that because I've had line of credits before,
okay.
Right? You can do that. You can make just interest payments from the bank.
Yeah. I guess my point being, it's still screwed up. You just decide not to pay it,
right?
Because how much could the note be on a $6,000 line of credit?
Absolutely.
Maybe it was a balloon payment of some sort.
Could have been.
I don't know the details, but bruh. You just got these. You got $50,000 and $10,000 checks. You're running a racket, allegedly, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a really weird thing to default on when you live in high on the hog, flying back and forth to Atlanta every weekend. And that ain't an exaggeration either. Every weekend, somebody is sending me a picture of him at the damn airport, flying to Atlanta. So again, I always like to mention, y'all know Atlanta is the number one place in America for gay black trans men. Black men pretending to be women.
And also, so if you're rolling like that, $6,000 ain't crap to you. So it's just $6,000. Why did you even have to borrow that? You need to borrow $6,000 when you're rolling like that? Well, no, but I get why he did, because he really isn't living like that. He's overextended to hell and back.
Do you think he puts on the banana suit when he gets to Atlanta?
Oh, 100%. He's got the banana suit on. I mean, he may have a different. I bet he's got different colors of the same suit.
Do you think he wears like some guys have, especially these black dudes that try to dress all supermodel like?
Mm-hmm.
You see them walking in NBA games and stuff with the suits with the skinny jeans, the skinny pants. You think they're wearing the man high heels with those?
I would think he's
got like a pump kind of looking thing.
He strikes me as the kind of guy with the high heels. I could see that, and I think he's got that suit that we all know that's infamous by this point. Is in several colors, like pastels. We got
to take a break online. Stay with us. Radio. We'll be right back. We're going to stay on the internet.
What now?
We're going to stay online.
Okay, cool.
To the top of the hour, and then we'll go get your stuff.
Yeah. So,
all right, we're still live with you guys.
He's got pastels, there's one like a off aqua, I could see, or something like that, a pinkish one, but not pink like pink, but like pastel pink.
Since we're not on the radio and we're online, I just want to ask you guys watching. Do y'all think if minimum he's bi-curious? Shaun, you don't have to answer it. I know it puts you in a bad spot, going this personal.
Wait, talking about do I think he's bi-curious?
Bi-curious.
I think it wouldn't shock me if someone said that.
Yeah.
If it came out that he had been with men, I wouldn't.
What does polyamorous mean?
I don't know. I got to Google that. I don't know.
I don't know. As a straight man, there's some codes being violated.
He's, if it was Dennis Rodman wearing that, I'd be like, okay, that's Dennis Rodman. But he ain't like that.
We know it's a publicity stunt with Dennis Rodman.
Right.
He's wearing it to try to be a fashion aficionado.
That's what I mean. It's poly is a type of relationship where people have more than one romantic partner at the same time with the consent of all partners.
I feel like he definitely checks that box off, but what is the other?
I don't know, but the consent because I don't think he probably has his wife's consent.
Well, let's just be honest. I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures of him floating around with other chicks. I mean, at some point.
There's a boy,
I've heard enough rumors about him and girlfriends flying to football games and
Sure,
this, that, and the other. I mean, if I know, she knows.
Yeah, she knows. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Do you think she's waiting for him to go to jail?
Allegedly, of course.
Like, she's going to be happy when he goes to prison? Because do you ever see her out there in the public lately? I saw them on that Christmas commercial thing they did, like, we love Christmas and all that stuff. But you don't really see her around. Like, Rakia's the one always defending him. It ain't her. It's not Ebony. Ebony's not out there. Like, I've never seen her out there talking about my husband. She's probably, because you know why she's not doing that? She's angry. She's probably angry.
Like Michelle Obama.
That's what I was thinking, right? Just like, she's really mad. And so she's like, nah, you know what? Roll, buddy.
Do you think that he's like a Diddy Party kind of guy?
I mean, I could see that, sure. Or he goes to what's that club in New Orleans? The sex club that's over there off of Bourbon. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm sure I do if I heard the name. But.
Yeah. God bless, it's going to drive me. Everybody, online commenters, what's the sex club in New Orleans? It's right there. It's close to.
Kara asked, does he have an orange suit? No, Kara, but I Photoshopped. I had my Photoshop guy Photoshop the yellow one to an orange one. And I've used it on several thumbnails on my YouTube videos.
Really?
So Shaun's going to be leaving here in just a minute with you guys. We may drag him into a segment in the top of the hour. He said he can stay to about 8:15.
Yeah.
So, but he can't do the whole show today. I'm gonna get into a big rant.
Colette's. That's the club.
What is it?
Colette's.
I never heard of it.
Never heard of that? Okay. Yeah, it's a swingers.
Jeb just said it in the comments.
Yeah,
too,
somebody else knew what it was too.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. You got to take it like an application right here on the website to be a member of it, and
some people. Corinthian in the comments says some folks are paying her to say shut up.
Oh, are they? Okay. Shut up to what in terms of like saying about his stuff?
Yeah,
his business,
their personal life. Don't pout online about it.
So she's mad, obviously. Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, so when he goes to prison, she's gonna be happy.
Yep.
She's gonna have a bunch of new boyfriends. Everything will be good.
Everything will be all right. We're coming back from the break, y'all. Quick little moment of silence while the intro comes. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We got about a minute before our top of the hour break here. We were chatting online in the online chat box, on the online stream. Some things that we just can't talk about on the radio. If y'all get a chance, be sure to check that out. If you go back and listen to the replay, we do talk during the breaks sometimes, not as much as we used to. But I got a quick question here on the Guns and Gear text line before we go to top of the hour break. It says, is the mayor of Jackson married? Yes, he is married.
Loosely.
Somebody who wants to remain unnamed says he had a bad debt at their company too, which I know the company, but I'm not going to say it. So we got a confirmation there. I think that's a furniture store possibly.
Rent to own or something?
No,
it's not. I'm sorry.
It says the city should be penalized for letting him qualify without filing them. Well, he hasn't done that yet. He hasn't qualified.
I'm sure, and Kara's in the YouTube, I'm sure her people will be sitting in front of City Hall at 5.
Yep.
I'm guessing we'll know.
All right, we got to take our top of the hour break. We'll be right back in 7 minutes here on WYAB. All right, online audience, I'll be right back. I got to run out to the car real quick and grab something for Shaun. We ain't going to make y'all wait 7 minutes. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the radio and online, streaming in 3K video with Shaun YURTKURAN here on the Save JXN Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok. Hope you guys are following us there or listening on the radio. It doesn't matter how you consume the content as long as you're consuming it. Hit the share button if you don't mind. And, hey, don't forget, got a sale running this weekend over on my website on FAFO shirts. It's a FAFO Friday here in Central Mississippi. We always celebrate that by offering you guys a discount on my merchandise. Today's special is no promo code needed, by the way. $20 T-shirts, $20 FAFO shirts, both designs, the blackout tag and the G.I. Joe style. that's been so popular. They've both been very popular. It's kind of funny. The I don't think the the tag shirt looks as good on the internet as it does in person.
Yeah, I agree with that because it looks great. The hoodie looks awesome too.
Thank you. It does. I'm really proud of it. But it looks so much better in person than the mock-up does.
100. That was one of the things I've ever seen that is so drastically different when you see it in person. Yeah.
So it doesn't sell very well online,
Yeah.
but it sells better in person. But I just haven't been able to go do a bunch of pop-up shops lately.
Yeah.
So I've got a bunch of shirts that I need to sell.
Right.
So we're having a shirt sale on the website this weekend. $20. They're normally $30, and they sell rather quickly. Like I said, but I'm kind of hung up on that shirt because it looks so much better in person and when you're wearing it than it does just on the mock-up online when I try to post pictures and stuff. I wish everybody that bought a shirt would send me their pictures of them like they used to. That helped me sell more shirts than anything I could do. Than me wearing the shirt myself on this radio show, anything that customers sending me the pictures does better than anything. But anyway, buyafafo.com today. $20, no code needed. Hey, real quick, lunch today. We're not doing our Blue Plate specials yet, but Huey Magoo's, swing by 2 locations, one right there in Pearl, right as you enter the outlet malls. I get all these shopping centers, so I got to use as reference points, confused. Right there, if you're coming off Highway 80 into the outlet malls there in Pearl, it's right on the right first building. Huey Magoo's is the filet mignon of chicken. At Huey Magoo's, they serve up only the top 3% of premium chicken tenderloins. Huey Magoo's handcrafted tenderloins and are marinated for 24 hours and cooked to perfection. And you and your family will taste the difference. Huey Magoo's is not your ordinary chicken tender restaurant. Huey Magoo's is also Huey Magoo's also has wraps, sandwiches, salads, and meals. You hungry yet? You know you are. Visit Huey Magoo's today. Bass Pro Drive in Pearl or Lakeland Drive in Flowood. Huey Magoo's, the filet mignon of chicken. I ate some filet mignon the other night.
Pretty good?
Yeah. I cooked it myself, as always. I'm not buying a filet mignon anywhere.
Yeah.
Shaun, you've been watching any of the confirmation hearings?
Yeah, I watched some of the RFK stuff, and which in the of course the stuff last week, but I didn't catch any of Tulsi Gabbard stuff yesterday. I caught RFK the other day. I
watched all of Cash Patel's. I didn't watch all 6 hours, but I watched the bulk of it.
The thing I've noticed from about RFK is the schism with the Republicans that don't want him. The Democrats obviously don't want him, which I think is interesting.
What Republicans don't want him?
Well,
just a few rhinos.
Well, it seems to be like a lot of the pro-life Republicans are anti-RFK. I've noticed that. I've seen that kind of trending where, like, if you're a pro-life Republican, you're anti-RFK for being a lifelong pro-choice Democrat. So
yeah, I mean,
I've seen a lot of that.
So we as Republicans have got to get beyond this cancel culture stuff. We've got to say that you don't have to agree with me on everything. We have got to stop doing that. That's what's torn the left apart. And we cannot do that on our side. We've got to understand that abortion, in my mind, should not be a left-right issue. That people have their opinions, but you can also be a conservative and not a Christian Republican.
I think that's an interesting point. And you and I have discussed that for the last almost 2 years since I've been on the show here. The one thing is I'm going out to Colorado like in the first week of March. My sister, I used to stay out there sometimes with my sister lives in that western rural conservative district out there.
Yeah.
And everybody's conservative out there. There's Trump stuff everywhere. This is I was hanging out there more in 21. The interesting thing about those people hanging out like ranchers and stuff, they're such different than Southern conservatives.
Yeah.
They're not like Christian, like that kind of, I'm not saying they're not Christians, but it's not like the forefront thing of conservatism out there. It's more of like, let the government stay out of my business conservatism that they're kind of subscribed to. And so I think it kind of goes back on what you're saying. Like you're saying you would like, okay, there could be pro-choice Republicans or conservatives.
Yeah.
Like what does that have to do with whether your stance on certain fiscal issues or whatever, whether you're pro-choice or not?
Somebody's thoughts on abortion should have nothing to do with their thoughts on immigration.
Yeah, right. How are they linked,
Yeah, like I have my beliefs on abortion. I made them clear over the years. That is not a political issue for me anymore. I am focused on my pocketbook, border security, and free speech, and a few other odd man things. And whatever. Those are But I'm aged out of that being my fight.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think
I'm aged out of abortion being my fight.
Well, I just don't know. Like, and I think that there's other things in abortion that, like, each party has got these checklist of things that you have to agree with to be, but you could like have opinions, different opinions on several issues. You may be 80% conservative, and 20% liberal on things, and that's very possible, or vice versa, or whatever. I mean, like, let's say you're socially liberal on everything, and you're for single payer health care, and you're for most, government run this, but you're also super pro military. Like, why couldn't you be that way? Like, you could be like, I'm just, 100% pro defense. I mean, there's just this, I just think it sucks that there's like this checklist that we've got that you have to do this to go down the line. Like my dispute with the left on the trans issue, which I think is absolutely insane that's even attached to it. Like, why do I have to say, yeah, man, you're with us, you got to agree with this? Like, no, I don't. It's stupid. This is a mental health disorder, and, call it what you want. I mean, that's the only thing you can call it. But you can't say that on the left because it's part of the checklist.
Yeah, and the right's got theirs, and we've gotten really bad about wanting to kick people out of the party or finding out that people aren't as based as, or haven't always been as based as they are now, and then want to throw their past up and say, oh, but you did this 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you were about the vaccine. 5 years ago, you were about face masks. Well, and then they woke up. It was a great awakening. It was a great reset. Lefties love the great resets when it's their reset.
Right.
It was a great reset of sorts. I mean, we got a lot of people on our side. That's how we had the big turnout that we did. That's how Trump won so well. Don't quit trying to do right-wing cancel culture.
Well, I think you saw that also.
The right woke.
We saw
the
that.
Woke right, I mean.
The woke right. Yeah. We saw that with the abortion initiatives I think they were on 10 states ballots last fall. I think Trump won every one of those states that it passed, by the way. I think that's right. I'd have to double check that, but I think that's correct. I think it passed in 8 states, 2 states it did not. One of the states it did not was Florida, but it got 57% of the vote there still. So 57% of the people who all voted for Donald Trump, by the way, because he won, most of them, not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. And these are states he won that abortion passed. So obviously people voted for Trump and they voted to be pro-choice. Yeah. That's an interesting, I mean...
a lot of these school choice advocates are teetering on the line of becoming the woke right.
You think so?
And the cancel culture right. They're making it such a hill to die on that they say you're not a conservative if you're not for school choice, and they're looking to start kicking people out of the party if they're not for it. And I'm like, you better be careful with that. You better be careful with that. And that's just the topic of the day. Anything, be careful with that. Because sometimes, at some point, something's going to come around that you don't agree with, and you're like, no, now you got to leave. We're turning into the left with that stuff. We got to stop.
You got to you must exit now. Here's your Well, I don't. I think actually the and you and I discussed this before the election. What would the outcomes would be? Who depending on who won. You're seeing a lot on the left after doing that for so long. Now there's this massive backtrack. Have you noticed that? Oh, yeah. Like this, we were watching Ro Khanna on PBD this week, and I think there's this what I'm seeing from the majority of the left is that now they're like, we'll take the trans issue, right? They're all saying, wait a second, yeah, I'm not really that for that, and they're all jumping on this bandwagon now. Like I'm sure there's the percentage that are still going to be woke hard on it forever, but the leaders of the party, what do you want to call them, are now backtracking on it. And they're saying, okay, well, now it's okay for them to say, this issue really hurt us, so now we're going to back away from it.
I was listening to Glenn Beck this morning for a second because he was talking about something about AI, but towards the end of it, he got off in this schism about what looks right-wing and what looks left-wing. He said, now you can show a photo. Maybe it wasn't Glenn Beck. Maybe it was a Breitbart radio. Anyway, I was listening to something on the way in this morning. They were talking about, you can see a photo of 3 people enjoying cocktails in a bar in Midtown Manhattan, and that could represent the right.
Yeah.
You could show a guy working on his car. No. A guy wearing, a white dude, wearing flannel, sitting at a bar, sitting at a Texas Lone Star Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse in the South, and that could be right wing. Point being, all that could represent right wing now because it's a big tent.
Yeah.
And they said, but you know what represents left wing? None of that. They said things that when you think left wing, you think fat, unscrewable, ugly women, angry, gay, all this other stuff. These extreme gender ideology people, these extreme LGBTQ, DEI people. Nobody on the left looks like, you don't see a photo of people looking normal and think, oh, they're on the left.
Right, because it's already
they've ran the normies
brain.
out.
Yeah,
they've ran the normies out.
They said that in that PBD podcast. You know what? They asked Rokana, what does the left offer young men? Because I think that's actually one of the most glaring examples of it in terms of, you know, this, like, now everything the last 10 years have been this toxic masculinity thing where, like, it's bad to be a dude. You can't do that. And there's been that push on that didn't exist, which is really interesting to me because, you know, 30 years ago, the left was the party of union labor, like blue collar union labor, like even up until Obama. Obama won those union counties in Ohio and Pennsylvania and stuff like that. And how that in a decade just completely shifted is amazing.
Now it's the party of progressive blacks and the rainbow supremacy.
Well, and I think that's, you know, again, something that happened over the course of the last 10 years, which has given them now an opportunity. Now, I don't know if they're going to take it or not. Some of them seem they're trying to do that, to reform into whatever they're going to reform into.
Well, they've got to primary some of their current leadership and get some normies back in there.
It seems to me what they're trying to do, and you've probably listened to this too. Have you noticed, like, Bernie Sanders is looked on with a new light on the left? I've seen a lot of that. Like, it's like we should have gone with the populist progressive, you know, which is Sanders is kind of the epitome of that. I've seen a lot of that narrative being pushed, like the populist progressive would have been the way, not the corporatist progressive, which is like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and stuff.
Yeah, all the ones that have been doing these confirmation hearings and they're screaming and screeching and crying in favor of the vaccine and Big Pharma. It's been wild watching these confirmation hearings. I mean,
the corporatist Democrat was
Elizabeth Warren almost started crying.
So I did see that portion.
You know, talking about vaccine companies and the fact that they may get sued. All right, look, I got to take a break. Sean's got to leave. I'll be right back. Y'all don't go anywhere. The Clay Edwards Show is returning. We're talking about Thalia Mara Hall shutting down. Will it ever reopen? I got some information. We'll be right back. On the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there. Hey.
Clay.
Yes.
Hey, I was wondering on the whole, when they talked about the Warren or whatever, Elizabeth Warren on
the hearings, the confirmation hearings.
Yeah,
yes.
On the hearings. That why didn't he link in? And I know he might not be pro-gun either, but if you're going to link in and can sue gun companies, then I don't see why they're so upset that now we bring in something else that could have been a health threat with the vaccines. And if they're proven to again have caused death, I mean they link guns up with suicide, and they'll attach that. And I mean, other than again them shooting and killing each other in self-defense or offense.
You know, that is a really damn good point that I haven't thought about, to throw it back in their face like that. I like that one. That one's going in my repertoire.
So, yeah, I was thinking about that if I've been listening to you over the past few days, and I'm just like, I don't see why they don't put that in there. And that was all I was going to bring to your attention.
What a great point. Thank you, brother. How you been?
Yes, sir. All right, have a good one.
All right, thanks, Josh. That's a great point. The lefties have no problems making it where you can sue gun companies. Well, why not Big Pharma? You know, we're also paying more for our medicine here than anywhere else in the world. They got it. They can afford it. I mean, I'm a capitalist. I don't like it, but they can afford it. Let's see here. I'm going to read some of your comments real quick. All right, we're pretty much caught up on comments as far as staying on topic. Let's shift gears, shall we? Thalia Mara Hall. Well, also, if you're just tuning in, Chokwe Lumumba, it's the final countdown. He's got till 5 p.m. today to produce his campaign finance reports and get qualified to run for re-election for a third term here in the city of Jackson as mayor. Will he or won't he run for mayor? That is the question of the day. If you're watching online, I want a simple yes or no in the comments. If you're listening and you want to text, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Let's put a little egg on his face, shall we? They announced yesterday that Thalia Mara Hall failed, that's right, failed its fire inspection. But they should have known it was going to fail its fire inspection after this little sound clip we have right here. You're going to have to bear with me 1 second. I got to pull it over for the online audience. I should have already done that. I just habitually forget to do this. Let me make sure I got it pulled up right. I would love to have two screens here. It would make this so much easier. Y'all don't even know. All right, that'll work. Let me cut the volume on. This is Chokwe at his press conference yesterday, or maybe the city spokesperson, somebody talking. And they're going to explain to you, they're going to sit here and they're going to say, well, I'll just let them tell you, and I'll explain how stupid it is.
Just you can't really 100% say a visual inspection. That's why we wanted to take precautions and send it to the lab to be tested.
Thank you. If you're open within the next few weeks, are the elevators and escalators ready to go, fully functioning?
No, the elevators and escalator is not really part of the scope of this stage of the work. This one, there's a lot more improvement in phase 2 that the city did not have funding for. What we are fixing is primarily to take care of the emergency components, and that's really the first phase of the project there. So there will be other things that will be done after the reopening. The fire curtain has to be installed, which is going to be done sometime in April or May.
All right, right there. The fire curtain has to be installed sometime in April or May. As they're sitting there telling you it's going to open today.
The purchase of the second chiller and the installation of the first and second chiller will be done probably in May or June, but this is not going to impact the reopening of the facility.
That is a lie, by the way. That is absolutely going to affect the reopening of the facility, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly why. So the state fire marshal went and did the walkthrough inspection yesterday. And guess who failed the walkthrough inspection? Thalia Mara Hall. The Free the Land bunch is finding out the hard way that the rules, in fact, do apply to them. I know. Black Democrats in Mississippi have had quite the pass for the last, decade. And the Free the Land bunch has run Jackson slap into the ground completely unchecked for the last 7 or 8 years. We could go back further, but I'm just going to stick this one on Chokwe and them. And they have run it into the ground. They haven't done anything. Frankly, I'm surprised that Thalia Mara Hall has that it's taken this long to just go into disrepair. Because they don't fix stuff. They don't understand how to do this. They don't understand having a punch list and having to go down it and get everything fixed and done right. Now, we're going to play this other little video here from WLBT, and then I'm going to explain to you here. I want y'all to remember the fire curtain. It's very important into this because they said that the fire curtain was going to be hung in May or June or April and May or something like that. It's January. Let's just say it's 1st of February here. That's February, March, April, potentially May. That's up to 4 months from now, the fire curtain is going to be hung, which is mandatory to pass the fire inspection.
News, if you were expecting to attend an event at Thalia Mara Hall soon, you will have to wait a little longer. The state's top fire inspector says the facility cannot safely reopen just a day before it was set to open its doors back up. The state fire marshal did a follow-up walkthrough of the 2,000-seat auditorium months after it initially found 22 violations at the facility. The office writing in part, while some fire safety issues have been fixed, other issues are still being addressed. We are waiting for a response from the city of Jackson.
You're not going to get a response from the city of Jackson. Let me just go ahead and tell you, stop waiting. That lady that does their public spokesperson, she's just going to say no comment. Why would we answer that? Why would we answer anything negative? We don't answer negative things here. We just make stuff up and tell you, shut up. She's going to have a hard time transitioning back into media around here, the way she's treated the media. But anyway, to my point, let's scroll down here just a little bit. And here's why it failed its walkthrough inspection. Y'all, I can't, as a former nightclub owner that was under a lot of scrutiny by the fire department, and every other nightclub owner is too, it is a very hard thing. Large occupancy venues are put under a microscope for fire code ordinances and stuff, as they should be. Just by the way, as they should be. The city has a fire department that does these very things to the businesses. It ain't the state fire marshal that you had to get the damn approval from. It's the Jackson Fire Department that has to give you the approval, your occupancy and all that stuff. The fact that they have one of these right across the street behind it there, a fire department, actually it's the main fire department, the main offices, headquarters, and they couldn't do a walkthrough together, a little pre-walkthrough, and get this right, should tell you all you need to know is if you still needed anything left to figure out why Chokwe and them ain't the ones for this. They ain't built for this. They just ain't. They love big announcements, but they don't actually follow through with getting the things done. Let me read this for you real quick, and we got a caller on hold. While some fire safety, this is from the state fire marshal, or the marshal that did the walkthrough, says, while some fire safety issues have been fixed, other issues are still being addressed. For example, the fire curtains have not been installed. Let me say that again. The fire curtains have not been installed. Keep in mind, they said in that video we played when they were announcing that it was going to reopen today, that the fire curtains would not be installed until April or May, knowing that it was on the list to have to be done before it could reopen. They just assume the rules do not apply because they haven't, and now they're finding out. Continuing. Maintenance and inspection paperwork was not available for the elevator and escalators. The fire alarm system is showing trouble, and there's no timeline on when it may be fixed. The sprinkler system needs to be inspected and tested, and fire suppression tools need to be properly tagged, the office wrote. Y'all, they can't even do the simplest parts of the fire code exam, whatever the hell you want to call it. Let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, thank you for staying on hold. You're on there.
Morning, Knucklehead. How you doing?
Hey, Kingfish, how are you?
All right. Well, it's even better because if you go look at the list of deficiencies back from September when they inspected and you make a list of them yesterday, it's identical. I mean, it's the same things. The fire alarm panels were displaying codes. Extension cords were used all over the place. You had fire exits that were partially obstructed. I mean, and so on and so on. And the deficiencies are almost the same. You know, so you're wondering, did these people actually do anything? Because you read the two reports, it seems like they didn't. And the reason why you got these things, the reason why, folks, this is important is because I'm going to take you all the way back to 1940. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No.
Front page of the Jackson Daily News. Blaze at Natchez kills 212 people. That's where they had a club down there. They had some concert, and they broke every fire code violation you could imagine, even the one that back door they had, they nailed it shut because people were sneaking in during the show, and the fire broke out. People trampled. I mean, over 200 people died. That's actually, if you do your research, led to your auditorium and nightclub fire codes around the country today was to prevent stuff like that from happening. And then you've had some others like that Great White Show.
Hey, can you do a segment with me?
Sure, go ahead.
I got to take my break. We ran over. Hang tight. We got Kingfish.
Don't pay the bills.
We got Kingfish, Jackson Jambalaya on the phone. I want to ask him about a couple of topics. This as well. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show on a FAFO Friday. Go get your $20 shirt now at buyfafo.com. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Real quick, this segment brought to you by our friends over at How About My Friends at El Patrillo Mexican Restaurant. Guys, it's Friday. we love our Mexican food here in Central Mississippi. It's authentic Mexican. It's locally owned. It's locally operated. They're fully staffed, by the way. Just let me throw that out there. I've seen some of the scuttlebutt online about some other places due to some recent things going on here in the country. Do not fret. They're legally and fully staffed at El Potrillo. Swing by, catch them at either location. Not downtown Brandon, but Crossgates Brandon, right in front of Crossgates on Highway 80, right next to Bops. And, of course, right there, the mothership, the big location, right there at Dogwood, as you, right at the entrance to Dogwood, right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods, the OG location. Heck, I don't know which one's been there longer, honestly. They're both great, both been open for a long time, ran by a husband and wife. The husband runs Flowwood, the wife runs Brandon. They're very hands-on. Great service, great food. I don't have to tell you about all the great food authentic Mexican restaurants have to offer. Theirs is great. I love the steak fajitas. That's right. Imagine that. Check them out today. Eat them for lunch. You can get in and out of there. Get fajitas for less than $10 with a drink. You can't beat that, son. Heck, if as much food as you get, you can dang near split it with somebody if you're throwing the chips and salsa. Anyway, check them out today or tonight or any other time this weekend. El Potrillo, Mexican Cantina and Restaurant. Let's get back to Kingfish on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, Kingfish, I just saw some breaking news here while we were on the break. Something national. We only got about 6 minutes here to talk, but there's some clearer footage of this helicopter thing. This crash has come out. I just shared it on my Save Jackson X account. If anybody wants to go look at it, man. Yeah. And also, there's some unconfirmed reports that the pilot of the Black Hawk.
Let's just wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just wait and see.
It looks intentional.
I mean, I understand, but a lot of times, first 24, 48 hours, a lot of these things, a lot of speculation, a lot of bad information.
Yep.
Lord knows I've been guilty of reporting stuff that wound up not being true. So, because it was in the fog of war. I mean, so just saying.
But I will say this, with this new footage.
Their investigators are really good. Yep. They usually determine what happened. They're pretty thorough.
This new footage looks damn near intentional. It's bad.
I know. I'm curious to hear what pilots have to say about it, because all these, it's like with Eric Erickson today, all these people online, they think they know more than, they know nothing about it. They know more than an expert does. Well, I don't want to hear what pilots or former pilots have to say. They're going to know how this stuff is supposed to work.
We had a Black Hawk pilot on the show yesterday explaining loosely, some of the things that could have been, from an accident standpoint, where we're not looking at it through the lens of it being intentional, strictly from an accident standpoint. He's a Black Hawk pilot here in Mississippi. And, he had seen the footage, but had not heard all the details and everything. So he was kind of shooting from the hip a little bit. But, and then come to find out it was a training flight too. A lot of stuff there to unpack. It's going to be very interesting.
She'd only had 500 hours, if I read right.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that they're saying that she could possibly be a he.
I saw that. You know what? If that is the case, then that will come out. But I'm just, like I said, it's just one of these things. I tend to kind of just withhold judgment, because it takes about 5 to 7 days before you start seeing the whole story coming out, usually. I think that'll be the case. We'll find out more tomorrow. Yeah. We'll find out. The day after.
We'll find out with this regime.
And all the stuff online I just kind of ignore.
Yeah. Hey, that aside, I just saw that while we were in commercial. The Thalia Mara Hall, that's a bad deal. What do you think? Think it's going to get reopened under the watch of Chokwe?
Well, yeah. It may not be if he loses the election, or it may not open before he's out of office. But what got me was the fire curtain. That's a big deal, and there's very good reasons why you have to have a fire curtain.
Oh, 100%. The video is still online of the Great White Fire in Rhode Island at the Station nightclub.
There's very good reasons, for it. You got to have it.
Yep.
So they knew about it back in September when they funded the inspection, and they had the money in the bank. So they can't say, well, we didn't have any money. Yes, you did. And so they're sitting there, well, we're not getting it until April or May. Like you said, at the same time, we're going to reopen Friday. Did you guys even read the report? Did you even look through it? And like I said, when you look at the list of deficiencies from September and look at them yesterday, those lists are nearly identical. It's like, did y'all even try? Did you even look at it? But we've seen this rodeo before. The library system, libraries.
Yeah.
They had to shut down the zoo for a year because they didn't realize they had to have a license.
Well, at the end of that,
things like the water plants. We won't even go to the water plants.
Look, here's one little sentence from the end of the WLBT article. It says, Jackson officials say they had not read the fire marshal's report, but will provide a statement once they review it and get feedback from contractors. So to answer your question, I know that was they're talking about the follow-up report, but I believe they clearly had not read the initial list because they
makes you wonder.
It truly does, because there's no way you can sit there and say you got to have these things. There's no workaround with that. I've opened up multiple nightclubs, 3 in Jackson, 1 in Byram, and there's no we'll get it later. We'll go on and sign off. You have to have it's like the health department when they do their walkthrough in the kitchen. There's no we trust you to do this. We're going to go on and sign this.
This is like the water plants. They said we need Class A operators. Okay, before the whole thing fell apart, we need Class A operators. Yet they didn't even have the jobs posted anywhere online or on their own website. So if you were a Class A operator looking for a job, you would know it by going to their website or anywhere else. You see what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, we're talking basic management task here.
They're not available. They're not. Look, man, one of the greatest telltale signs that I really knew it was really, really bad, more than just the beyond. So sometimes just the little things that you can pick up. It was last year. It was the day that they did the Anthony Fox press conference. He got out and the Clinton did the press conference when we saw you there that day. It was that day. I went downtown to Martin's and eat after that, me and my buddy Corey. And we just kind of rode around downtown for a second. And the flags that fly in front of Thalia Mara Hall, Mississippi flag, City of Jackson flag, American flag, they were all 3 in such disrepair. It was disgusting. There's no reason these should have been being flown. I took a picture, posted it. They went and changed them that day and came back and commented and said I was lying and it was photoshopped.
Yeah. Well, they were saying after when the water plant broke down, it's because the flood, okay? Well, I knew they were going to do that, so I had Rick Guy, who was a clear and ledger photographer for 30 years, take his drone out there, and he shot some pictures of it, and you could see the floodwaters never got anywhere close to the water plant. In fact, the water plant's on elevated land for that very reason, okay? And so that was mentioned, I think Anthony Warren asked him at the press conference that day, and he said, that was, well, we don't know if that picture was taken before the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever, Chokwe, sure. Okay, right. Yeah. Rick Guy's going to make up stuff. 30 seconds or less, and I got to go. Does Chokwe qualify today? Oh, yeah.
You think so?
He may not follow a campaign finance report. He's qualifying.
All right.
You can write it in blood, as a radio strongman says.
All right. Thank you, Kingfish.
212 people died in Natchez in 1940. That's why you've got these fire codes in place. Bye.
JacksonJambalaya.com. The man, the myth, the legend, the Kingfish himself. Make sure y'all are checking out Kingfish Daily or Jackson Jambalaya Daily. That's where I steal half my content from. I'll be right back. Online audience, don't go anywhere. I'm going to chat with y'all. Radio audience, stay tuned. Come back, land the plane for the day here on WYAB. All right, guys. Miss Tammy here just said it great in the comments. She goes, looks like all their lies have caught up with them. It's not just lies. It's incompetence. Tate Reeves called it a crisis of incompetence during the water crisis. And that's exactly what it was. It wasn't a water crisis. It was an incompetence crisis. They're incompetent. They can't continue to blame all of their incompetence on racism. Now, if I blame all their failures on incompetence, y'all will call me a racist, but they're incompetent. They're not capable of. They don't care. The rules don't apply. They just think it's somebody else's job, but they keep hiring people and giving them job titles. They think that a college degree means you know how to do shit. And they don't know how to do shit. A college degree, a underwater basket weaving degree from JSU or any other HBCU or any other college for that matter, doesn't mean you know how to run a venue. Your college degree does not mean you know shit about how to be public works director, parks and recs director. But they get these degrees and they think that this is supposed to unlock everything for them. Nobody starts at the damn bottom and works their way up and learns how to do the job they've been given. No, you got a degree. You went to school for 4 years and you can do some math. You can do some maths. You got a social justice degree. You got a CRT, a DEI, underwater basket weaving degree. You'll make a great public works director. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's why Jackson schools are a failure. It's why this entire city's a damn disaster. Complete shit show. Yeah, so anybody that thought I wasn't going to dance on their graves ain't been listening or watching this long enough. Since the week of November 7th, Donald Trump won the election, Chokwe and Jody and all them got indicted, and I've been being proven right time and time again. Time after time. I mean, I've got a front row seat to the end of the world. I'm like Steve Buscemi on that asteroid in Armageddon, sitting on the nuke, watching the asteroid head to Earth. That's me watching Jackson fail. Had a front row seat to the end of the world, Ma. But hey, at least they got their college degrees. And now on all their resumes, they got a big L. If I'm in charge of hiring for anywhere, and somebody comes in that's been a part of this administration, and they got that on their resume in this time frame, I don't give a damn if the rest of their degree is a PhD. You're an absolute idiot. Free the land, free the people. Oh, I can't wait. There's some things I know. There's some things I know that I'm not allowed to talk about, and it all pops off today by 5 o'clock. If he qualifies without those campaign finance reports, it's on. Y'all stay tuned. I got to take a quick little moment of silence. Come back from the break. All right, as we land the plane for the day, thank you all so much. It's been fun. I appreciate Shaun coming in for the first hour or so. Great conversations there as always. We always end up hitting something that I want to talk a lot more about. Maybe next week we'll dive off into that right-wing cancel culture stuff, the woke right, and why we need to quit doing that if we want to stay in office. Same reason the left lost is the same reason the right is going to lose if we keep kicking everybody out of the party that we disagree on certain stuff, whether it's abortion, school choice, or anything else. It's like, all right, well, we just disagree on this. You know, don't send mailers out if you're some of these think tanks telling, oh, this politician disagrees with school choice, so he's not a Republican. You know, last time they sent those school choice mailers out to Florence, that got lost. Anyway. Good times. The countdown's on. 5 o'clock. See ya. Yeah, the last time, they keep pushing the school choice stuff, and whether you're for it or against it, I'm going to tell you right now, the folks in Rankin County, they ain't for it. The folks in Madison, overwhelmingly, they ain't for it. There was a state legislator seat available, and one of these think tanks here, conservative think tanks that's all pro-school choice, got behind a candidate, sent out a mailer, let everybody know that he was for school choice. That was it, son. That mailer single-handedly cost that guy that election. Folks in Florence don't want school choice. And Florence is a great representation of how I believe every other town feels about it. If they want to use the whole, kids with disabilities, they need to figure that out. I agree. Kids with disabilities need to go wherever the strongest school for their disability learning is. I get it. But it's also on the school districts to put an emphasis on that and get more good special needs teachers in other schools. Food for thought. I know everybody can't be great. You know, there are some teachers are very, very special people. I mean, I've got to meet some lately. Special needs teachers are phenomenal. I didn't even mean to talk about this. I'm just saying. Some great teachers out there. There's some nut jobs too, but there's nut jobs in every field, right? I mean, look at here. I made it on radio somehow. All right, man. Thank you all so much. I'm going to be on top of this all day today. I'm going back home. I'm sitting at my desk. My camera's fired up, and we're going to stay on top of it. What happens with Chokwe? If those campaign finance reports don't get turned in, he's in it for a world of pain financially and criminally, whether he qualifies for the election or not. Those campaign finance reports have to be filed, whether he's running for election or not. Even if he chooses not to turn, here's the other thing too, y'all. If Chokwe chooses not to turn those campaign finance reports in, nor run, and he's just going to ride out to the end of the term, the city of Jackson is breaking the law if they're paying him. So keep in mind, that's taxpayer money. Who in the state is in charge of making sure y'all's taxpayer dollars aren't being wasted? I'm not going to give you the answer to that. Y'all should know the answer to that. And he has no problem arresting people for illegally taking taxpayers' money. Food for thought. Y'all have a blessed one. I'll be back on later. I'm reading some of your comments real quick. Somebody commented from Rumble. I love it. Says, my husband Jeff said you're on fire today, brother. Thank you. Love that.